Hey there, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So this is what I did with the remainder grass from that Hawaiian table skirt that I purchased at Dollar Tree. If you haven't seen my previous tutorial where I made another project with the same table skirt, I'll go ahead and link it up above so you guys can watch it after this one. So for this project, what you're going to need is a mirror, and I'm just recycling one that I used for a previous project, and I'm going to get one of the back boards of a picture frame and basically cut it to size to fit the mirror that I'm using. Now this mirror that I'm using, I believe I purchased it at Michael's. Again, it's from a previous project, so I can't really remember, but they usually have them at Michael's, Walmart, Joann's. Dollar Tree does have square ones, but they're a lot smaller. So what I'm going to do with that rest of the table skirt is basically I'm grabbing some rubber bands and I'm going to cut it approximately about 4 inches from the top rubber band. Then I'm going to place another rubber band down at those 4 inches and kind of just push it down just slightly so I can cut it to make that that piece about 4 to 5 inches. So just kind of estimate depending on how long you want your grass frame to be around your mirror. So just go ahead and cut that, and since you have a rubber band on the bottom part, you're going to be able to get another same section, another size of the same section. So just go ahead and continue cutting them until you have all of your grass 4 to 5 inches in length. Now, as you can see, the other one's going to be about 6 inches, but I left it that way because I wanted some to be kind of, I didn't want all the grass to be even. I wanted it to be more of that natural look. So you'll see what I do with the rest of it. So just go ahead and grab some of the grass in your hand, get a popsicle stick. And this is the way I found the easiest way to do it. And then I just kind of placed the grass onto that popsicle stick in little sections. And then I just shook it, and whatever came down, I started gluing that again onto that popsicle stick. And like I said, this is one of the easiest ways I found to do it, but I am going to show you another way that I ended up making the rest of them using this other step. So what I did was basically, I put all my grass down on that little piece of cardboard, and this is just an extra piece of cardboard from that frame that I cut down. Then after I put a line or a row of all the grass and try to even it out as much as I could. That way I could know I had more grass towards the bottom than on top where my popsicle stick was going to be at. But once I got enough to the row long enough for the popsicle stick, I added the glue. Then I glued the popsicle stick on top of my grass, which was a lot easier, and none of the grass fell that way. So I would recommend you do it this way, but either way works. So just continue doing this until you have at least a good 15 popsicle sticks full of the grass. And these are a little bit longer, but like I said, I wanted more of that organic, natural look. I didn't want it to be all even. So it depends on you if you wanted all your grass to be all even around as a frame, or you wanted more of that organic look. So what I ended up doing after I put all the popsicle sticks onto my grass, I kind of divided the ones that were cut all straight and the ones that were more organic looking, and divided them. Next, what I did was cut that popsicle stick in half to make 2 pieces out of each popsicle stick. Now what I'm going to do is kind of just figure out where I want to place them and then start gluing them onto the back board of my frame. So don't glue them onto your mirror. Either you can, but I ended up gluing them onto the board. So just continue gluing them all around. And what I did was glue all 4 corners first, and then I started going in between. And since I wanted some organic, some more straight cut, I kind of just played with them. And so this is basically the taste. You just kind of play with your little pieces of grass, skirt, you could say, and then just start placing them wherever you like. And don't worry about them all being the same length or not, because at the end you can trim it to either make it all straight or to make it, more organic. So basically, I ended up making 3, and I could make another one, but it was a lot of smaller pieces. But I ended up making 3 projects with one of the Hawaiian table skirts. So you get a lot of projects out of one skirt depending on what you're going to do. And I have thought of so many more I can do with this table skirt, but since I haven't been out so much, I'm only trying to use what I have and not go out shopping unless I absolutely necessary and have to. But if I do get a chance, and I am able to go to Dollar Tree, I know I'm going to pick up a few more of these because I do have an idea to make a light fixture with them, and also some other projects. And if you're interested in me making those, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. That way I kind of will make it my must-have thing to buy as soon as possible. But yeah, this is one of those it's in the party section at your Dollar Tree, and it's a Hawaiian table skirt. Typically they have every spring or summer, they usually have Hawaiian theme items, not just for parties, but just little pieces of decor and what have you. So yeah, just go ahead and keep an eye out for these and pick some up. So as you can see, I'm kind of just gluing them randomly all around. And since I cut this board the exact same size as the mirror, I don't have to worry about where I'm placing them, because I know the mirror will cover everything up because it's exact size as my board. And if you wanted it longer or make it look even bigger, you can make this board bigger than your mirror. Just make sure that the row of the popsicle sticks or whatever you're going to use to connect your grass to your frame will be covered underneath that mirror. But I found making little sections like this made it look more fuller, and it just made it look more of a store-bought item than you just having one row of grass around the entire mirror. So once you're done adding all of your hay or your grass, go ahead and get some E6000 and get 2 more popsicle sticks. And what I did was glue them onto the center. That way my mirror in the center will be even to the mirror around the edges. Because of those popsicle sticks, you have to remember it's going to be elevated up. So you want to make sure you put something in the center that is the same height as whatever you're gluing towards the edge, so your mirror can be even and it'll be stuck to the center of your frame as well, because you don't want it just to be around the edges just because it's heavy. So you'd rather have something in the center that is elevated that the mirror can attach to. So I'm making mine to be kind of like in an angle. I'm not going to hang it squared, so I wanted it more like a pyramid shape. So that's the way I'm going to glue mine. Once you've added your E6000 and you already know kind of basically where you're going to place your mirror, go ahead and add your hot glue, and that's just to keep it in place and secure while your E6000 glues. Make sure you're putting it exactly where the points are at, and then you're done. Press on it. Now you can go ahead and trim your grass and cut it all even, or like I am, just kind of trimming it down, making it look more organic, some longer, some shorter, but I kind of try to make it look symmetrical from one side to the other side. So just continue doing this, and again, this is all to taste, depending on how long or how full you want your mirror frame to look. And I've seen these skirts there for a few years and never ever purchased one. Just never thought of what I could use it for. And I can't believe, now that I'm making these projects, I can't believe I've never used this. So that's a good plus. That's a positive thing about using the crafts and stuff, supplies that you have at home. You kind of try to make yourself think out of the box and figure out what you can do with the items you have. So maybe this is a good thing for us crafters to kind of clean up our area and use what we have. I mean, sometimes we purchase it thinking maybe one day. Well, it can be now. So yeah, this is a great way to clean up your items and all your craft supplies and use what you have and kind of be more creative and challenge yourself to do things that you wouldn't even think of until now. So once you're done adding your hangings, whatever you're going to hang it with, what I decided to do was use the jute twine. But as you could see, this frame did come from a picture frame, so it does have the hooks. So if you're wanting to use just the hooks, go ahead and do that. But I wanted it to have some kind of hanging rope in the back. So that's one project. Now, this is the last project that I'll be making with this table skirt. But like I said, I will decide and try to get some more. So what I'm going to do first is basically just grab a few, maybe about 6 to 10, something that you can even out between three, to make 3 strands. And what we're going to do is make a simple braid with these strands of your table skirt. All I did was grab a piece of tape, wrap it around the top of my grass, just to make sure everything stayed nice and even and in place. And then I taped it onto my table and I went ahead and just did a simple braid. Now my first thoughts were I was going to make some braids and wrap it around my mirror, but I decided that wasn't what I wanted it for. I decided to go ahead and make a different project with this instead. But you can, again, depending on your style, add or take away whatever you want to any of the projects that I make. But this is what my first initial thoughts were. I'm going to make a braid and wrap it around my mirror to make it look more of a frame style around that part. But I just didn't really like it, so I didn't even record that part. But that was my first initial thoughts when I was making this braid. But since I had already made my braid, I went ahead and decided I'm going to make this and add it to my third project, or my second project on this tutorial. And for some reason, I lost some of the footage, and I'll show you where I ended up losing it and what I was doing. So once I was done with that braid, I set it aside, grabbed the rest of my table skirt. Then all I did was make little tassels, and I got roughly 6 to 10 strands, and then I just made a tassel. And my tassels were roughly about 2 inches in length. So I grabbed another piece of the grass, wrapped it around the top to make my tassel, and just tightened it up. And once I did that and tightened it up, you can add a little piece of tape or some hot glue just to make sure that stays in place and doesn't fall apart, and it stays nice and tight at the top. And I just trimmed those extra pieces at the top, and I went ahead and cut it, like I said, about 2 to 3 inches. And then I continued doing this until I was completely done. So you can get from each strand or a strand bunch, you can get roughly 2 to 3 of these tassels, depending on the length that you want your tassels to be. And that depends on what item you're going to use to make your vase. Now, after I was done with this, like I said, I ended up losing some footage. What I ended up losing was showing you the little plastic wine glass that I had purchased at Dollar Tree that I'm using for my vase. And all I did was basically glue these tassels onto my vase. And I just glued them onto the rim. But you can use a wine glass. You can use a regular glass vase, one of the square plastic vases, basically whatever you want. You can even add these onto one of the wire baskets to make it as a basket instead of a vase. But I wanted it to be able to add water to my vase, or just add a candle if I like, because I sometimes like to add fresh flowers or what have you in my bathroom. So that's why I wanted something, a container that I could actually add water to. But you can, like I said, you can use one of the wire baskets as well. So just go ahead and continue doing this, adding your glue, and just kind of eyeballing is what I did. Again, you can measure it to the exact size. Just each one individually, go ahead and measure. And this is where I ended up gluing it onto my wine cup. And the wine glass, I'm sorry, isn't glass, it's plastic. But I did purchase it at Dollar Tree. And just go ahead and trim the bottom of your tassels to the length you like. So I trimmed it kind of not halfway up my glass. I want to say a little bit longer than that. So I ended up trimming it basically to taste. I just wanted that little bottom part to be shown. That way, if I decide to add rocks or, you know, anything pretty underneath, you can still see it when I decide to add a candle. So here is the braid I made. And what I'm going to do is put it at the top of my vase, right underneath where the rim is at of my vase. So just go ahead and glue your braid all around. And if you don't feel comfortable, again, if using just hot glue, go ahead and use some permanent glue. Some E6000 or Fix-All glue would work just fine as well. So just go ahead and wrap it all the way around. Now what I did to the edge, you can do a few things. You can just cut it off and glue it on just the edge to edge of your braid. But what I ended up doing was, as you can see here, I'm going to show you, all I did at the end was to make it look more clean line and streamlined. What I did was fold the edge of my braid into itself and then glued it onto my vase, just like this. And that way you won't see any of that, and it'll just have one continuous braid. Now you can leave it like that. You can leave it more rustic. It's just up to you. What I ended up doing also, and you'll see just a minute, I trimmed the top part. So I just trimmed it all the way to the edge to make it more clean on the top part. So I just continued trimming and cutting until I cleaned it up. And then once I was done, I didn't want it just this one color, which is the natural, I want to say like a light tan color, off-white color that it comes in. So I just got some light brown paint, and I don't even know what color this is. I kind of just mixed up the extra paint that I had, but it's a tan, darker tan than this one, maybe like a khaki color. And what I did was just lightly brush it over the braid and throughout my grass skirt. And you don't have to use the brown. You can use green, you can use white, you can use, you know, any color you want that's going to add some kind of texture and make it more like a 3D effect on this skirt. And that way it also will match whatever decor you have in your home or where you decide to place this at. So just go ahead and, as you can see, just lightly brushing it, you know, wherever it lands, just trying not to get it on the glass or the cup or container that you're using. So all I did was continue doing this. I think I should have stopped a little bit sooner because it got a little bit too dark, but it still came out really, really pretty. Just go ahead and continue painting as much as you like and just allow it to dry, which since you're painting very lightly, it's not going to take long at all for it to dry. Once it's dry, go ahead and just fluff it up. And as you can see, I just turned it upside down and kind of just push the skirt up or downwards if it's upside down, just to fluff that up. And there you have a beautiful vase or candle holder, whatever you decide to use it for. So I hope you enjoyed these two projects. And again, if you haven't seen the other project of what I used the same skirt for, I'll go ahead and link it in this video so you guys can watch it after this one. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. Until next time, you guys stay safe and stay blessed. Bye.